Inner City Enduro, Port Elizabeth, the two words are synonymous with each other, and now we add a new word, the boardwalk. Sun International Boardwalk, the new host for the 7th ever running of Inner City Enduro, with some new obstacles, some new flavours. But once again, the people and the riders will make the big show happen.
Guys, I'm sitting on a log in the middle of an incredible venue, the Boward Walk Mall, part of a Sun International group. They've been fantastic. They've just embraced us when we came to them and said, guys, we want to stage Inner City Enduro here. So yeah, really excited about it. We're 6 years in the Barkens Valley. It's time for a change. We've got an incredible lineup of pros. I mean, the best we've ever had in the last 6 years. Got an incredible lineup of support riders. And who knows, guys, 7,000, 8,000 spectators is what really this place attracts each and every day.
The boardwalk area was absolutely incredible. On practice day, it gave the riders, as well as the event organisers, a chance to get their feet and figure out how things were running. For the first time ever, the riders would see a new layout of track. The format remains the same though. It's still knockout racing, so you've got to be in it to win it. We chatted to a couple of the pro riders to understand their approach to an event like this.
I'm Matt Green, I'm 21, I'm from Pietermaritzburg and I'm a professional hard enduro rider.
My name's Johnny Walker, I'm from England, but I actually live in Andorra and I ride for the Beat factory team.
Carl Flanagan, I'm from Cape Town.
I'm Wade Young from South Africa, racing for Sherco Factory Racing.
Travis Teasdale, I'm from Pietermaritzburg and I ride for Husqvarna South Africa. Mindset leading into an event like tomorrow is firstly getting out front, limiting mistakes, and getting into that final three. I think that's the hardest, to not get knocked out in the event.
Basically, my main goal is to just try and stay out of trouble, don't get involved in battling with anyone, but just the main focus is just trying to win every race. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything, but it's good for your head. If you can go and win that race, you just feel more confident going into the next one if you've come from the second row.
Try to keep a cool head and not panic when you find yourself at the back or getting a bad number for your start, and always tricky to pass guys, but if you can make it happen.
Sometimes you get put at the back of the gate, you got to choose your lines wisely, don't get caught up in the trouble, and just get to the front as soon as you can.
Before everything kicked off, me and Bri went down for the track walk.
Hey Bri, back at ICE, you're not racing, but I know you wish you were.
Yeah man, I must be honest, it's so exciting to see it all unfolding. I've been out of the scene for a few months, so it's exciting to be back, and I've got to be honest, I thought I'd be relieved not to be racing, but the nerves are kicking in already and I'm not even going to be on the line. So I must be honest, it would be cool to be racing. You know, I look at this like I look at my show. You know, the sport of trail biking is in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the bush. And the minute we brought it to the people with the shows and the indoor events, it made so much more sense. And that's what Mike's done here. And I think he's done the right thing now. To bring it right into the mall. The people are here already. It's going to bring new people into our sport. It's going to bring a lot of attraction and excitement. I think it's going to be cool. You know, it's cool to see people that are not motorcycling people get excited about this.
Let's check it out. All right, Bryce, so the Castrol Logjam ends with this matrix, which is good because they've kind of bolted everything together. It shouldn't move, but you never know.
Exactly, and again, it depends where you are at that point. You know, first prize, if you get the whole shot and you get your first 5-10 guys around you, you've got to make a plan. So this could be very exciting, especially with the fencing there and with the crowd outside. I think it's going to be carnage.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. You're tearing in here, probably wide open, and then you've got to drop the anchors because this is a little bit of a pop, a blip. What is this?
Exactly. These are really tricky because you've either got to get up on the back wheel and stay on the back wheel into the tires, or be slow enough that you can go down the other side without the front wheel getting stuck in one of the tires. Every time you get on the gas, the rear wheel digs in, and then before you know it, the front wheel's fallen into a hole. So every tire is a different diameter. You know, you've got to time your speed in and out of these tires really carefully. Straight into concrete chaos, and again, the guys every year they seem to bring the obstacles closer together, and it's literally one bike length distance on the other side. So let's check it out.
Bri, this is a new one for me and a new one for ICE as well. The Northfield Nutter. Northfield Engineering have put some incredible work into this. Let's go check it out.
Brilliant.
So we got to go up the steps. This is not a problem, really.
No, as long as you got a bit of momentum, but the word being momentum, and I don't know if you can see over there, but there's no run up from the fence. So
yeah,
obviously just a little bit of momentum, and then you've got to get into this channel over here, which helps you because if you're in it, you're good, but if you're not in it, you're going to be eating hospital foods.
Small little pop, take us through the exit.
Exactly. So hit the front wheel into here, keep the gas on, and then they put some really nice grip tape or grippy aluminium over here on the way down. And again, not much room to turn, and into the next section.
So out of the alley, we've kind of like shaken ourselves loose. Now we get into the more, I would call it the more natural terrain. This is DNA Drop. It is a cliff face and it's proper loose. Check this out, this wheel spin city. I'm gonna turn around at the top, come back down, and Brian's gonna take us through the next section. Check this out.
Not bad. So steep down here, very short distance to stop and very short distance to get another run up into Boulder Bash at the top up there.
Okay, so Boulder Bash, you've come all the way up the hill. You get a little bit of a gap just to get yourself prepped, Brian, and then some nice square edges.
Again, some different options, so a little bit of variation. If you do get you and there's someone in your way, if you had a bad start or you got caught up somewhere else, you've got a bit of time to catch up.
After the 180 hook, it's into Plastic Rebuilder's car crash.
The cool thing about this is if it does start raining, we've got a little bit of grip on the tread, but up here there's no tread whatsoever. So this is where you start seeing tires, losing their traction. And then of course we've got a left-hand turn before we get to the launch pad.
Launch pad this year has got a different aspect. We've got choices this time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm only seeing that right now. We can jump to the left or jump to the right. So nice that they've given you some options as well. Is that there's still a little bit of the grease and the oil from the last job that they did.
A little bit of diesel,
and that throws, again, in the morning it will be difficult, but as a little bit of dirt gets up there, that'll all dry up. So
Piping Hot this year is brought to us by Universal Power Supplies. It gives us a nice drop-off with an option, and then we're going to head into the final obstacle. But let's talk about this drop-off here. You can roll down, you can wheelie down, or, Bob, you can sky this thing.
You've got to have your timing right because you're going to jump straight up onto the top of the truck and back off again. So the timing, of course, is everything in the sport.
This is it, last chance saloon. But as you can see, to get to it, you've got to do a little bit of a wiggle. It is not a perfect straight line, but the option is there to straight sky this thing.
I'm having a look at it now, Matt, and if a guy's got a shot at it and it's for 60 grand, I think he's going to go for it. So I'll be standing here near the end of the race for sure.
After that, we head straight to the Red Bull Arch and it's victory lane.
Yeah, so I have raced one sort of a knockout race before, and it was basically a dual lane. You went all the way to one end, turned around and raced all the way back. So that was cool because you were next to one person. You weren't actually battling them, but it was just like who could go the fastest over each obstacle, and then that person got knocked out. Whereas this one, you start in one place, you finish in another, and there's like 4 or 8 riders, whatever, on the grid. So anything can happen. So it's kind of different to what I've done in the past, but I feel like it's a good format and it could work and, get bigger in the future.
It's interesting. We never race like this. It's always you building your way up to the front, and you normally have some time to settle into an order of who's the best and who's the worst. But with it being one lap, anyone can really perform and be aggressive from the start and just try and be in the front and as hard as possible and as soon as possible.
So the goal of it is for every heat is pretty much try win every heat. So you can ride your own race, have no traffic, stress-free, and yeah, that's obviously the best plan.
After practice, the unofficial fastest lap went to Johnny Walker.
First time you had real clear air, now that you've got your eye in, have you got the flow dialed? Is there anything left out there?
Yeah, definitely a bit. I hit neutral halfway around then and nosed into something, but I'll get rid of them. So there's another 3 to 5 seconds in there, I think, faster.
Ooh, here we go. Okay, we'll let you go to bed, and tomorrow a little bit of a dust off and then we go banging.
Dude, I'm ready to go, thank you.
On race day though, the tides had turned with a little bit of precipitation down in Port Elizabeth. Okay, so it's race day at Port Elizabeth, and ICE Inner City Enduro 2023 is almost good to go. We had a little bit of overnight rain. It was clear when we started setting things up this morning, and we've had 3 showers so far. The rain's running in and out the whole way through the day, but we're still going to go racing as we proved in the 2022 running of the event. We can and will always bring the show. As the riders and spectators started to head down to Race Village, they were greeted by warm coffee, open arms, and a slightly moist track with a couple of tweaks to it. Yesterday was really good for practice, but it did show that we need to open up the track a little bit. So the team have done an incredible job overnight, and coming out of Nelson Mandela Bay concrete chaos, we have now opened up the track. So check this out. You come straight line down, and then you've got a choice of 3 lines going up into the Northfield Nutter. So this means if you come out of the chaos, then you've got 3 lines. So we'll see a lot of action on this obstacle before we roll over and check out the new section, because we've also kept it wide going forward into the extreme skips. So they've taken the ramps from yesterday and they've put them either side. What was a 1 line is now a 2 line feature before we head down into Algoa Alley. After Algoa Alley, nothing changes. So these are the tweaks, and this should create much better racing for the morning session. Then we're going to go into the main events. That's what we've done. Hopefully it works. After the track team did their magic, the riders were allowed once again to go out there on foot and see how things were going to be unfolding until we started to get the riders on the gate. The whole format of ICE was all about 17 support class riders and 14 pro riders going out to see what they could do. As we started with the 17, one by one, we lost the riders from the back of the pack. Focusing on the support class, there were 1 or 2 riders that definitely set their stall out early and were running inside the top 5 the whole way through the day. The morning session, though, showed some of the cracks, as even some of the local superstars could not find the traction while the moisture was still on the track. As we tick through the early heats for the support class, the rain did start to lift and the track did start to dry up and offer a little bit more traction for the rest of the riders. Titus Iverson was starting to look like an odds-on favourite as he was running the fastest lap times and took more heat wins than any other rider until we whittled it down. It was time to focus now on the pro class. 14 of the very best trying to make it through to the top 2. Gate picks were a constant source of joy and disappointment in equal measure. Front row starts were a premium. As we started to smash out the heats, it was clear that the track was going to be running a little bit more smoothly for the pro riders with a little more experience, but at the same time, traction was going to be at a premium.
So yesterday after practice was a beautiful day, and now this morning we had a bit of rain here. It's a lot more slippery, so it's just need to be more careful. It's going to be a bit slower, but hopefully it dries out, and then we can have a bit more confidence to go faster and jump some stuff.
I always do, well, I don't actually always do this. My mechanic normally does this. Well, my bike comes with this done, whereas I'm doing it myself now, and I don't really know what I'm doing.
That's the whole idea of coming to
it's just a
new format.
Not changing anything, just putting on a jacket, staying warm, and we're going to give it a big crack in the afternoon.
Early morning rains eventually lifted, but not until we had lost quite a few of our pro riders out of the gate. Walker, Young, Flanagan, Teasdale, Green, and Oust were starting to set themselves above the rest. As one by one, we lost the dudes from the back of the pack.
Unfortunately, I got knocked out third lap, but I'll come back next year, hopefully better and stronger, and hopefully I'll get a top 5 next year. We'll see.
It's carnage here in the beginning. Guys are piling up and it's pretty hard to choose a line. So we'll get a bit better when there's less riders, I guess, but tough to keep yourself out of that elimination spot because it's a bit of luck in the beginning with a good draw out of the hat and a good start.
No, nothing, just my clutch is a bit old. I should have changed it before, so I'm just changing it up. I just don't like the take where it takes. So it's just more preference thing than a problem.
As always with ICE, Brian Capper was on hand to entertain the crowds.
I've always thought that we should bring our sport to the people. You guys did that, but now it's really in the faces of everybody. And for me, my show was incredible. I must say it burnt me a little bit not to be riding or to be racing, but to see the best riders in the world lay it out this weekend was awesome. And I had a good time. I enjoyed it, and looking forward to see what you guys have got next.
After the midday event, we got ready for the knockouts as we headed to the finals.
Had a good day out here, first time out here, so just happy to be here.
This is like a surfer dude. He doesn't really care if he wins or not, but I think the party's going to be huge if you do, eh?
Yeah, I know, you got to stay competitive, eh?
All the fun animals. Support class had 3 of the very best and some surprise results coming into play. Titus Iverson had been controlling the event the whole way through the day. Liam Elkington went down hard in tire torture and then did one of the best fightbacks we have ever seen out there. The rocks were causing a big problem on the top of the shelf as the guy started to climb up out of the alley and into Boulder Bash. And Elkington slid his way through and all of a sudden was in the lead. And he would find his seat in the final. Zach Gulliver had done a good job. Unfortunately, he would fall out in the late stages and we'd be left with the cream of the crop. And we were no doubt heading to a new champion coming out of the support class. All the trimming had been done. We were just looking for the support class main event now.
One of the big things with the Boardwalk Mall was to offer PE a place to come and have events and have some fun and bring everybody together. So obviously when we were approached by ICE last year to host the event, there was a lot of planning and chatting around it, but we were really, really excited about what an event like this could offer the shopping centre and also the people of PE in Summer Strand. This is something we can hopefully bring back again next year and just keep on building on the success of what we've gotten so far.
The Boardwalk Mall was rock and roll and the racing was off the hook. We started to head into the gnarly part of Inner City Enduro. 5 of the very best going at it. Carl Flanagan was there as well as Double T, Travis Teasdale. Heinrich Aust had done an incredible job at his first senior time of riding at Inner City Enduro, but the cream was all about Johnny Walker and Wade Young. Walker was in good shape and would run and hide in the last 3 events of the day to make sure that he was going to find his seat at the table. This was the top 5 qualifier to trim the fat, and unfortunately, it was Carl Flanagan who was stuck at the back of the pack. The guy that has stood on the podium 3 times now at Inner City Enduro, but has not yet taken a win, would unfortunately not qualify and not make it any further forwards. Walker was starting to really stretch his legs as the day got longer. Wade Young, who was a multiple Inner City Enduro champion, was in second place and was potentially trying to hold something back before we headed into the top 3. Flanagan, though, was in trouble. The fastest privateer out there, unfortunately falling out and credited with a number 5 finish at the 2023 running of Inner City Enduro. This was where it got brutal because the guys that had made it this far had really earned their way inside those big numbers. Walker's pace was starting to build as we headed to the finals. The 2 dudes going out there banging bars for the crown in the support class, Liam Elkington and Titus Iverson, were going at it, hammer and tongs. Elkington had a good run the whole way through the day and it kind of saved something for the last couple of heats. Titus Iverson had been confident the whole way through the morning session and the fastest guy in practice, but in the final it came down to a 2-horse race and it was very much whole shot racing. Elkington controlled things in the flatland section before we went up into the more natural terrain. Remember, log jam became tire torture, concrete chaos, the Northfield Nutter and the skips, then Algoa Alley, the fastest section of the track, before we went up and around DNA drops, boulder bash, car crash, launch pad, and then started to head into ADT. That was a little bit of forest just after the launch pad, and it was all in control for Liam Elkington, his first time out racing at Inner City Enduro, and he was staring down the barrel of a number 1 plate. Elkington taking the flag and the applause of the crowd, and a first new champion for 2023 was crowned. Support champ Liam Elkington beating out the pre-race favourite, Titus Iverson.
Very lucky though, I like the course, it was really fun. It was just nice to be here for the first time, I've got to be honest. But yeah, lucky day out there, sure.
Now a few words from the pros before the main event.
Yeah, look, it's a new venue, and if I can put on the top step, I'll be super stoked to get a second title and just see how it goes.
3 men on the line, Johnny Walker, Travis Teasdale and Wade Young, 2 ICE champions, 1 would-be champion who's been the fastest guy all day long has been Walker, This time around, it was Double T, Travis Teasdale, who could not get the gate he wanted. He was jammed up down there in a number 3 spot, and it looked like the 2 pre-event favorites, both riding out of Red Bull, one on a Shoko, one on a Beta, one from South Africa, and one from the United Kingdom. It was Walker and Wade Young who were running off, and Double T, Travis Teasdale, as strong and fast as he is, could not match the pace of the top 2. He was languishing down in a number 3 spot, and unless something crazy happened out front, he was going to be going to the cheap seats. He'd be credited with a number 3 ride and a number 3 finish on the podium, but he wasn't going to be able to go and chase the title this year. That was going to be left to a 2-horse race between Wade Young and Walker as they found their seats in the final of the 2023 running of Inner City Enduro at the Boardwalk. Walker was in the main, so was Wade. Double T was the last man to be cut out of the event. So with Travis gone, we headed to the line to see who would be champion in 2023 on the Pro Gate. The gate pick went to Wade Young on the Shoko, and he took the inside line. He would be trying to cover that line as they headed into Castrol's Southern Natal Lubricants logjam. Wade got a good pull off the line. Maybe went a little bit too hot into the logs to try and cover, overshot himself, and on the cutback, Johnny Walker on the Beta was able to get underneath him inside and then pull an instant lead as they went into tire torture. Wade was pushing hard though, and was maybe a little bit too aggressive in the early stages. It looked like coming out of Concrete Chaos, he would be able to close the gap, and then over the Northfield Nutter and the extreme skips, it looked like Johnny Walker just extended off the front, clicked an extra gear as he headed into Algoa Alley, and he was gone. That was around about a 2.5 second lead already at the halfway marker of the event. Wade was pushing on, but small little mistakes, especially down the bottom of the hill here, coming out of the DNA drops, that cost him a lot and cost him a lot of momentum going forwards as well. Up and over and into Boulder Bash and Car Crash, it looked like Johnny Walker had this one wrapped up. He wasn't looking over his shoulder. He wasn't worried about anything that was going forward. And it did look like, as we dropped down the hill, launch pad, ADT action, and then heading out into the finish line, it was all about Johnny Walker, a new champion, the first time he's been out here racing with us, and the Red Bull Beta rider got the win over the multiple champ. And in 2023, we've got a new man on top. Wade's going to have to wait till next year to try and get the big number 1 plate back. On the podiums, it was smiles and celebrations as an incredible journey here in 2023 at Inner City Enduro gave us 2 brand new champions. Liam Elkington is the man to beat on the support class going forward for next season, and it's Johnny Walker who made the big trip across from the United Kingdom to come race with South Africa's very best, and he stands on the top step as ICE champion in 23.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The format was so cool, the way you kept getting knocked out, but there was quite a lot of pressure, you know, like even when there's 4 or 5 riders, if something goes wrong in one of them races, you're out the race. So just tried to stay calm. There was one race where I started to panic a little bit, and then after that stayed calm, and then went into the final. Then Wade drew number 1, so I knew he was on the inside of me. So over the first jump, I knew I had to square back across. I had to jump, turn sharp, and then get back on the inside of him. So I managed to do that and keep him behind me until the finish, but it was close.
Definitely a bit of nerves in the last run there. I just made some mistakes in the beginning, but yeah, really fun day, enjoyed it. Good to be out here, so yeah, happy.
So that's it, Inner City Enduro ICE for 2023 is in the bag. The Boardwalk has been a spectacular success. I know everyone was happy to be down here. We can't wait to get back here. And the biggest story for the racing in support class and the pros. For 2023, we've got 2 new champions. Watch out next year. Everyone's gunning for those guys.